Welcome to Todd Wetstein Photography. Once again, I've got another simple video that's going to help accelerate your climb up that intimidating photography learning curve. Today we're going to learn how to read a histogram, and like I said, this is simple, and I got my crayons out. I said this is simple. And what I've got to do for you, I've got to try and do this backwards because of the way the video is. So, if we look at this, this is our histogram, okay? This is our right edge. The right edge right here, this line represents white. This line represents black, okay? Now, we're not worried about this edge over here. We're not worried about the left edge. We're worried about the right edge, okay? We do not want our graph climbing this wall. That's what we're concerned with, okay? Now, some people will tell you that this graph is supposed to shape like a rainbow. Or some people will tell you, yeah, if you're shooting a picture of Denali, this should look like Denali. No, this is always going to look different, okay? This represents black. This represents white, okay? Halfway in between would be gray. If I take a picture of a gray cat sitting on a gray wall up against a gray rock, if I take a picture of a gray cat sitting on a gray rock up against a gray wall, I'm going to have a spike up the middle because all I have is gray colors in there. So this is just saying how many pixels gray, how many pixels black, how many pixels that are white and stuff, okay? So, where we're climbing this right edge, if we look at our LCD, we may see part of our photo that's blinking in there, okay? With this one right here, it's saying that we're blinking a little bit, you know? If it was climbing up here, it'd be saying we're blinking a lot, okay? So we're overexposed. Now, we can correct this with exposure compensation. I have another video titled How to Set Your Exposure Compensation. So check out that video to correct this. But what we want is, if we look at this one here, see how we're not touching over here? Okay? We're not overexposed. And what we want, ideally, say we're taking a picture of a Snow Peak mountain or something, when we have white in our photo, we want to bring this graph over here as far as we can. Now right here, we may look at this photo, if this was our histogram, we may say, hey, this is a little bit dark. And we look here, we have room that we can brighten it up. So say we make a positive exposure compensation adjustment, we're going to bring that histogram over. If we do another one, we can bring it over. We can fine tune it and bring it right here. And then we're loading a photo on our computer that has the most information that it'll hold, okay? And that's what we want to do. Okay, we don't care what the shape of this is, and I don't care about my left edge either. That's my shadows. We got a lot of power in bringing back detail in the shadows. But that part of the photo that you see blinking in your LCD, that's gone forever. There's nothing we can do to bring that back. Okay, so if you've ever heard anybody talking about exposing for the highlights, this is what they're doing. Okay, they're protecting the brightest pixels in their image by stopping their graph as close to this line right here as they can get. And that's all there is to it, okay? Now, I've got another video on exposure compensation that goes into how we correct this. What I do, if you've watched my video on aperture priority, we know the aperture that we're going to shoot in. And we know the ISO we want to shoot in, roughly, okay? So we put our camera on the tripod, we take that picture, we look at our histogram. It may be too bright, okay? If it's too bright, then we need to make a negative exposure compensation adjustment. If it's too dark, we need to make a positive exposure compensation adjustment. And then we look at our photo again and see, do we need to go a little darker? Do we need to go a little brighter? And we just make those adjustments. It's very simple. Exposure compensation. That's the video you need to see next. But thanks for stopping here at Todd Wetstein Photography, and I hope I've cleared this up. Please don't overthink this graph, okay? The only thing we're worried about is that right line, that right edge, okay? Don't climb the right edge. That's all there is to it. Thanks again. Can't wait to see you in the next video.